Throughout history, legends of great heroes and incredible adventurers have shown to not only inspire us, but shape our very world. In Dracotrix alone, heroes come in no short supply. From the great dragon-riding founders who brought freedom to the once slaver-infested Draconic Valley, to the Woodstones who bring peace throughout the modern age, heroes are the lifeblood of our world. Whether they're on the backs of dragons or charging into the fray alone, one must not look too far to see a hero in action. But while common heroes grace our land each and every day, it is the truly astounding heroes who appear only once in a millennia. When the land cries out for someone to stand up and fight for what is right, when the gods themselves are said to halt and bow before this being, when it is said that the very world itself stopped for only a moment to bear witness to them, that, it is said, when a true legend is born. It is indeed a momentous occasion when a legend comes to life in our lands, and it appears that time has come yet again for 8 unlikely heroes. Deep in the heart of Harmonic Island stands a great school, the School of Dragon Riders. Founded long ago by 5 great heroes, this school stands as a symbol of peace and harmony between humanoids and dragons, and to keep up the tradition of training the future dragon riders of the land. Led by the descendants of the founding 20 dragons, these 20 dragons educate and train the future dragon riders, but never select the students themselves. That is, of course, except for 2 years ago. 8 beings, Euphoria the Fairy Bard, Carmine the Black Fisher Cat Tabaxi Rogue, Narmo the Half-Elf Druid, Vaex the Chameleon Lizardfolk Ranger, Dewdrop the Kakapo Kenku, Ro the Half-Orc Barbarian, Ryder the Azamar Human Sorcerer, and Malrock the Dwarven Paladin were gathered by the great dragon professors themselves and treated almost as if they would be the professor's protege. When news spread, the students of the school grew angry at this. They believed that the new students were getting privileges they didn't deserve, and so nicknamed them the Chosen 8. However, what the students didn't realize is that the Chosen 8 members had more than just textbooks to worry about. Ixin, the ancient red dragon professor, took the fiery Euphoria under his wing and tried to settle that fire with kindness. At the start of her first week, Ixin presented Euphoria with a human child. Considering her past, it was clear Euphoria hated him at first, though, unbeknownst to anyone, Euphoria soon considered him her own child by the time the first year ended. While she tried to protect him from anything she could not protect him from being taken away to an orphanage, due to Ixin believing she did not want him. That summer and the following year, Euphoria fought desperately to find any way to get her son, slipping deeper and deeper into a depression with each failure. Ro and Dewdrop, 2 students she made friends with, tried to cheer her up, but it did not go well, and in fact it got worse after an accidental killing at the Battle Royale, where an old dragonborn named Cardinal died. Euphoria felt even more guilty and depressed, and soon went off to North Point City for a small trip. This is where she found her old love Eclipse, somehow alive but his memories altered. After striking a deal with the goddess Zaka with her friends Ro and Dewdrop, Euphoria was happy to see Eclipse was brought back to normal, physically and mentally. After only spending a few days with Euphoria, Eclipse left to go get a job to support him and his soon-to-be wife if he had anything to say about it. But he soon disappeared again from the Fairy's life. Since then, all Euphoria can think about is finding her Tabaxi and getting her son back. Mirek, the ancient copper dragon professor, took the mischievous Carmine and tried to channel that energy in from stealing to pranks. He let the young Tabaxi have lots of fun and showed him a balance between work and play. Carmine and Mirek grew very close with each other, leading them to have a very good father and son bond. Because of Carmine's background, he stayed very quiet throughout his 2 years. He did gather information from his professor and Ro, and kept up to date so he could plan for things like aiding Ro with her relationship and eventual breakup. Carmine studied very hard and did surprisingly well, but now his focus is on something he can sense is coming. Livage, the ancient Orium dragon professor, took the battle-hungry Narmo and tried to bring out his more calm side to aid in his druidic study. However, try as the professor might, and his husband Ither, Narmo could not be calmed down, and his anger grew into lashing out and challenging the great ancient silver dragon professor, Quicksilver. The professor did end up killing Narmo and reviving him with magic, much to the surprise of the other students. But it seemed to trigger something in the great silver dragon's mind. He lashed out at Narmo, but was saved quickly by Livage, who fought Quicksilver for as long as he could to shake him out of the state. Once Quicksilver snapped out of it, he used some magic to heal Livage, and Narmo and him had a chat. Though Narmo realized his mistake and tried to settle his anger, both Ither and Livage could tell that there was still a lot being held to him. Now Narmo debates in his mind whether he should seek strength through forgiveness, as Livage and Ither tried to get him to understand, or keep trying to be stronger and seeking revenge. Evergreen, the ancient green dragon professor, took the stoic Vaex and tried to teach him to care for others while still being strong. Evergreen's harsh methods often made Vaex feel useless and irrelevant, making himself distance himself from everyone around him, including his little sister Dewdrop. As time passed, Evergreen grew worried about him, even finding out that Vaex tried to run away. When she went to go find him, they were confronted from someone in Evergreen's past who actually almost killed her. Vaex managed to get her help, and the two finally talked. They agreed that Evergreen would try to be easier in her methods and lighten up a bit on Vaex, but Vaex needed to learn to be stronger and work harder. This idea of being strong indeed came into play when the Rangers of the Wild appeared at the school, looking for Fey-touched Aasimar, a supposed dangerous race they were telling Vaex for many moons. However, when Vaex found out that Bagar, Euphoria's son, was a Fey-touched Aasimar, he instead vowed to protect her and her little boy for as long as he could. Ever since, Vaex has now had a purpose, and he has gotten stronger in his own ways. He hopes to one day be able to take down the great dragon that ruined his home, but until then, he will continue his path to be stronger and kinder. Slick, the ancient Mercury dragon professor, took on the young Kenku and instantly attached to her. Both of them got along very well, acting like a father-daughter relationship. However, when Dewdrop was confronted by the mysterious goddess Zaka, telling her that there was a hit placed on her head, Dewdrop grew very anxious and distant from everyone, including her professor. Her behavior got him so worried that Slick sought the aid of Evergreen and any other professor he could ask, which alerted Euphoria and Ro that something was wrong. After confronting her and finding about the Zaka issue, Ro ended up defending her, and the two fell into a small relationship with each other. It did not last long, and the two realized they were better as friends, but they still greatly cared for each other. As time passed, Dewdrop ended up bonding with each and every party member and slowly getting to know each of them. Dewdrop was pretty happy at the school until the day Cardinal died by Euphoria's hands. Dewdrop still has tried to look for the good in people and still tries to do better, but with the death of Cardinal and the looming threat of Zaka, her outlook and her mental state are slowly getting worse and worse. Kumado, the ancient bronze dragon professor, brought the young half-orc into his den, much like Mirek, and tried to teach her about having fun. As time passed, Ro worked closely with Komodo to learn to take her time in things and to try and open up more, which was very hard for the half-orc. Although her relationship did not last with Dewdrop, Ro herself eventually decided to take on a championship for the goddess Zaka. She did this in order to protect Dewdrop from having any more attacks done to her, and so she could keep an eye on the goddess. This has led Ro to do many things she morally questions and hopes she can hold out long enough so she can find a way to save her friends before she might have to do something she really doesn't want to do. Belclick, the ancient blue dragon professor, took a shine to Ryder and taught the young Azamor all he could about blue dragons, primarily about how a solitary lifestyle can be the best lifestyle. Ryder learned much through his time with Belclick and studied many different topics of varying subjects. Though what Ryder didn't expect was Dewdrop coming to visit him. Though not often, Dewdrop would spend a little time with him every chance she could. During one of their meetups, Ryder and her discovered that with his animal and his features, she believed he was a son of Astrid. Ever since she helped Ryder figure this out, the two have been very close with each other. Ryder now has a desire to go find his mother and talk with her and learn why she left him in such a state. Finally, Quicksilver, the ancient silver dragon professor, saw great potential in Malrock and took him in like a son. He taught him everything he knew and tried to make him bond with people as best he could. This, of course, led to not pleasant things, with Malrock finding every trick in the book to avoid bonding with people. However, when Malrock thought that he had nothing to live for, he found out about Baby Bagar, and something seemed to snap in Malrock, making him want to defend little Bagar from everything around him. And so, after he had decided to pick up a more paladin lifestyle from his once fighter roots, Malrock decided to become a paladin to protect the weak and to give hope wherever he could. Now, as he sits and waits for report card day, he wonders what futures lie ahead for him and which one will give him his heart's desire, an honorable death. Though their time at the school has been tough, they have shown great qualities and stuck by each other no matter what life has thrown at them. But now comes their greatest challenge yet, report card day, where it will decide if their fate lies with the Dracotrix School of Dragon Riding or perhaps out in the real world, wandering.